Hey everybody, today I want to make a video about this Elm City 4 lever that I did some work on. I live tweeted it, well practically live tweeted it every time I found something I needed to fix or fix something on it. I took a picture and put it on my Twitter account or my Twitter feed, but decided to make a video since I had it pretty well documented. I'm not going to do the repair in the video, but I will show you exactly what I did to repair it. Long story short, Jeff Moss got this, and then he knew I could make keys for these, so he sent it to me to make keys for it, or a key at least. And when I got it, the levers wouldn't move at all. They were froze solid, and I could hear, if you shook it, I could hear a rattling in it. And that's never good in these, because that means there's a bad spring or a bad lever or something's not right in there. Maybe a broken pin, but something's not right in there. So the first thing I tried to get the levers moving, and like I said, they wouldn't move at all, is since a lot of these were lubed with about everything under the sun, because they're over 100 years old, and plus they've been exposed to a lot of elements, I decided to soak it in acetone to see if I couldn't break down some of the grease that was in there. Maybe even, I saw on the bottom here, there's a little residue from, let's see if I can get a good focus on that, so from like tar or a black paint or something like that, really old black paint. And so I thought maybe that got down in the lock and maybe the acetone would free that up. I soaked it off and on for about 2 weeks, hoping that it would free up, and it never did. And I was about ready to throw in the towel and just send it back to Jeff, and then I realized on the back here, you can't really see anymore, but there was a dent. And I didn't know for sure, but there was a dent there. And the levers are right here. You'll see later in the pictures, but the levers are right here. And that dent was pinching the levers in between the front and the back of the case. So essentially that was the main reason why it wasn't moving. I'd taken these locks apart before and reassembled them, and thought I did a pretty good job. So I sent an email to Jeff and asked him if he wouldn't mind if I tore into this thing. And he said, sure, just use your best judgment. So I decided to go for it. And if you look, you can barely tell I was in there. There's a little gap that always comes up from opening it, but eventually the patina will regrow on that and hide it a lot better. But as far as anything else goes, it's back to really good condition. Here's the key I ended up making for it. This is the final key. I made 2 keys. I stamped it with EC, and basically that faces towards you when you go into the keyhole. And since this doesn't have a stop on it to keep it from going in all the way, it's kind of tricky to get to work. And I can never, there it goes, and I can never ever get these darn keys cut just right, because I always cut them either with a router or a file or something like that. But anyway, the key works. You just have to put it in the right spot. There it goes. But anyway, the key works as good as I could get it. I did a lot of tweaking on that. Plus a lube job would probably help with this. I don't normally lube other people's locks just because they all have their favorites, and I don't want to send them a lock full of WD-40 because that's all I use. A lot of people don't like that, especially with this patina. WD-40, if I leave it in there too long, you can eat that patina off. So like I said, a lube would help that tremendously. But anyway, so there's the key. Let's get started on what I did to fix this thing. So the first thing I had to do to figure out what was wrong with it is get the top off of the case. And I had done this before, so I kind of knew what I was doing. But basically what it is there's expansion rivets on several points around these cases, and they hammer them to kind of spread them, and then they have a little burr on the end of them. Then they file them flush, or probably grind them flush with the case. And so you can't really see them unless you know they're there, or unless you've taken the lock apart before. But anyhow, what I had to do was, I got an idea from a video on YouTube where they were taking apart a knife. They were taking the scales off a knife, and it was a really thin, slot that they had to work with. So they used razor blades. So I'm going to use this spare lock I have that's already taken apart to kind of show you what I did, since I can't physically show you on that one because I do not want to take it apart again because it seems to be working so well. But anyhow, what I did was I took let's see here, got my razor, oh here, there, sorry about that. But I took a razor blade, and the biggest gap, I'll show you on this one, the biggest gap in the lock is going to be between the shackle and the face. If I can get a good focus there. Yeah, so that's where you start. So what I did was is I hammered one in here, and then I kind of hammered one in about halfway, and then you kind of hammer another one in. Sorry about my arm there. Then you kind of hammer another one in between them, and what you'll see is they'll start lifting, and then you hammer the next one in between these two, and then when you like I said, you keep going around, and you just keep inserting razor blades or anything thin, and sharp old razor blades work great because normally you just throw them away, but they come in handy, really handy for this. But anyway, you keep going around and around like that, and then eventually, here's a picture kind of illustrating how I went around and all stuff. This one came off really easy. Normally I have to use about 10 to 15 razor blades, but you can see there I started at the top there, and then I kind of just worked my way around, kind of overlapping them, and that keeps it from, you know, digging into the side very much. If you overlap them, there's already a little gap for them, and it works out really well. So there's what it looks like with all the razor blades in it, and then the top comes off really nicely, and these are all from my Twitter feed. So there it is, the top off, and you can see, you know, it looks, none of the patina is really damaged. None of the patina was really damaged. It looks, sorry, I was pointing behind the camera. But anyway, none of the patina is really damaged, and you can see it comes apart really nicely. And there's, like I said, there's a burr on the end of one of these, and what that does is it'll fold that burr up and then allow you to kind of hammer it back down to secure the case on again, as opposed to drilling it out or grinding it again or something like that. So that's what I've noticed on that. So there it is with the case off, and that's when I discovered the second problem. I knew about the dent, and that's when I discovered the second problem. You can't really see it in this picture, so I'm going to get another one. In this picture here, you can see a lot better. This here is the shackle spring, or what's left of it, and you can see it's just kind of a rusty pile of crud there. So I knew I was going to have to either use one from a lock that I had before, or I was going to have to make a new one. And the first thing I tried was to use one of these. This is out of one of these 6 levers. I thought I had to get the razor blades again. But this is from one of the 6 levers, and it just goes in here like this. And this goes down underneath the shackle like this. I'm doing this to the camera, and then that's how the shackle pops. But anyway, the problem with using one of these is, as you can see, the size of the lock is physically smaller, therefore all the internal parts are smaller. So I had to go basically experiment with something until I could get it to work. So what I did was I went to the hardware store and I measured the diameter of there's this pin here. Oops, got parts going everywhere. There's the pin there that the spring rides on, and that is actually smaller than the diameter of the 6 levers also. So I had to use, it was 1/8 inch, and I think these are 3/16. So I went into the hardware store with an 1/8 inch bolt, or I found a 1/8 inch bolt, and I kept putting it in the spring holes until I found where it fit kind of snug. And this is what I came up with. This one looks to be almost the same diameter as an original one. This is the one out of the 6 lever. And as you can see here, you can kind of see the hole. You can't really tell very well, but the hole's quite a bit smaller on this one than this one. And that's pretty important because you don't want anything flopping around in there, because if you notice, stuff's not in there like it is now. You know, it's not in there really tight, but it works good. But anyway, so I had to straighten this spring out, and I just left like 4 coils, and I ended up just kind of tweaking it a little bit here, a little bit there to make it look like this. And finally, after some hammering, or some bending, I guess, I used 2 needle nose pliers, and I got this. So it loads up here. This is where the shackle goes, and then when the shackle comes down, it loads again, and that's physically what's popping it up. Now I did some tweaks even after this photo, so it doesn't look like that inside the lock. It looks a little bit different, and actually, you know, it'll work better and last longer, I hope. But anyway, that's what I came up with. I straightened that thing out, and I just left these 2 long tails, and then I just put them in there, and then I bent it how I needed it, and then I trimmed it where I needed it. See how it's if I would have left it longer, it would have hit the bolt on the way up, so I had to shorten a little bit there, and then it works great. That end anyway. Like I said, the other end I had to do some tweaking, but works great. And as you can see, the thing pops like it was new. Another thing you see here is the key. I made that while I was in there. I kind of cheated. Normally I have to pick the lock from the outside and then impression the key and do all that stuff. I kind of cheated since I had access to those levers. So I just set them where they needed to go, and I used my tool that you've seen in a bunch of my other videos, and I made a impression of the bitting and put some of that goop on there, that hardening stuff. Here it is right here. And then I had a key too, so I wasn't worried about locking it up anymore or anything like that. I could pretty much do whatever I wanted with it. So now that we've fixed the shackle spring and made a key for it, I had to fix the back plate, or the back case. And you can kind of see here, it's kind of hard to see, but you can see that that dent right there. And there's still a little bit of you can still kind of see where it was, but it's not as deep. But basically what I just did to do that was, with the I took everything out of the case, and the dent would have been right here. And I just took a punch, like I'd say a 1/4 inch punch, and I just kind of tapped it with a hammer, moving the punch around, trying not to hit it very hard in one spot. And eventually, you know, you keep checking, and eventually you'll see that dent just kind of smooth out. And then once it was out of the way far enough for me not to have it hit on the levers, then I knew it was good to go. So that didn't take much, especially since I already had the lock open. And like I said, you can still kind of see. You still kind of see it, because I don't know what hit it. Maybe a hammer or something. Something hit it hard a while ago, because you can tell it was a while ago because it's all patinaed, you know, over still. It wasn't anything recent. But anyway, so that's out. So that's the next thing I had to do. And then basically all I had to do was reassemble it. And I think that's all my pictures. I guess I should mention I did a few other things too while I was in there before I closed it up. So we're going to back up a little bit, and I'm going to point out these levers were pretty grimy and dirty, and they had a lot of crud, you know, I guess I already said that, but yeah, they had a lot of crud in between them. So what I did was I sanded them nice and smooth. It took off any burrs that might have developed from using it around this pin here, and you know, around where the bolt comes in and engages it, and then also here where the key hits it. So like I said, I took each one and I sanded it on both sides to make sure it was just smooth as glass. So there's not going to be any resistance from this grit allowing it to open. Another thing I did was, this is going to be kind of hard to see, but on the bottom of the shackle where the spring engages, this is where the shackle spring would go. And I went ahead and took a round file and I made that a lot deeper, because when I've dealt with these, I've seen a lot of them where the spring shackle's still in there and it still works, but for some reason it comes unlatched from here. So I made that quite a bit deeper, just so it would grab it there and be a lot less likely to fall out. So that's another thing I did. And then, you know, obviously I took a pick, like a dental pick, and I went through and I scraped out, you know, just everything I could get out of there without, you know, damaging the patina or anything like that. So cleaned it up really well. So I just want to make sure you knew that I didn't just slap it back together. You can kind of see in this final picture, maybe this one's better. You can kind of see in this final picture, it's a little bit cleaner, and I got all that stuff out of there, that old spring. And then you can see here, this was actually before I deepened that little catch there. You can see that you can see that spring just pretty much rested on that. Now it's nested up there pretty good. So there's going to be no chance for it failing, or a lot less chance. I guess I shouldn't say no chance, but there's going to be a lot less for it to fail in the future. So just want to mention those things, because they are, if you're looking at, you know, getting into repairing these, that is something that you'll want to do. You can see the levers are nice and clean, nice and shiny there. So once I got everything put back in, basically we'll just say we got it to this point, even though the spring was a little bit more modded than that. Then all I had to do was put the cover on, because I got the dent out, I had the spring made, and everything else was good. The springs on the levers were still good. You know, all the parts were still good. Everything else was made out of brass, just that dang steel spring that got us. So basically all I had to do was put that front plate back on. And what I did to make it a little bit easier for myself, because when you work it off, it kind of starts warping in different places. Like, you know, this will bend out, and then this will bend in or something like that. So what I did was I hammered it completely flat, and then I flipped it over and put it on some leather, and I hammered a little bulge, like a little cup in the middle, because that would add a little bit of tension to those pins as I hammered it down. Especially if I hammer it down around and then I hit it in the middle, it would kind of spread out and put tension on those pins. And then I could hammer on the ends of those pins, and as you can see, like I said, you can really tell now. But as soon as the new patina builds, you shouldn't be able to tell at all. But those burrs, you can see the burrs where they turn a little bit of brass, and then I hammered them back down. But anyhow, and then you just hammer the middle a little bit, and until it's flush again, and then it's back working. So if you have any questions, let me know, in the comments, or shoot me an email or whatever, or check me out on Twitter, or but yeah, that's all I did. And then I made this key the same way I showed you how to make the Wise key. I just smoked the other key, used some Scotch tape, put on this blank. This blank actually had a zigzag in it, and I hammered it flat so it would fit in the keyway. So anyway, that's what I did. I just want to show you guys that these are not easy to work on, but they're not impossible. And if you do decide to work on one, I wouldn't work on one that is worth anything to anyone. I'd recommend buying, like I did. I just bought a box of parts off of eBay. I think it was $15 for all this. But learned a lot about it through this, and learned a lot about it by just buying them and repairing them myself. So, but anyway, it pops like it's brand new. It's a little bit tricky to get the key work, because like I said, I can never ever get them just perfect where they just push in and work. And especially this one needs to be lubed just a little bit. Okay, sorry about that. I was actually starting to get really nervous that it wasn't working. So I applied some lube, even though I said I wasn't going to, but I didn't want to send this back to him without it working really well. So now, I put a few drops of lube I use for my razors. It's probably a food grade, if you use it on razors. But anyway, put it down the keyway and then into the shackle, and you can see that's all it really needed. Opens like the day it was made, so just a little bit of lube on there, and like I said, it's probably even water soluble. So you can see there, opens up no problem. Just needed to free up those levers a little bit, and we need to free up the catch there. But you can see there, you just put the key in, opens up no problem. So like I said, sorry about that, but I was really nervous, started getting really nervous when it wasn't opening. So hope you guys liked this video, and I really appreciate you watching. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments, or hit me up on Twitter. I'm on Twitter now, and I'll put a link to that in the description. And thank you so much, Jeff Moss, for letting me play with this thing. It was such a learning experience. But I knew mostly the basics, just so you know. It wasn't that I was experimenting on your lock. I knew most of the basics, but that spring was the trickiest part. So we got that done. And like I said, I appreciate you guys watching this, and thanks for watching. And I'll try to make another video sometime. We'll see you next video.